Hi, hello. How's everyone doing today? I had like the best intentions of letting this song play, but then I realized it's 6 minutes. So no, we're not doing that. Hi, good morning. Hopefully it is a good morning. Or, good whatever time of day for you. Sorry, I'm still kind of sleepy. That's wow, so weird. I don't know. We have a new temporary background. It's the new Sims thingy. It's adorable. We love it. Mm, I'm kind of excited to be making these Sims. Actually, all three of them are featured. Like there is Rory, there is Morgan, and there is Vlad. I have no idea why these feats are here, but yeah. No, I know why pizza is here. There's no pizza here actually. Mm, feet. I said feet. Wow. The double white screens. It is. I'm pretty excited to make another dent in the land grab manor. We'll see how that goes today, how much we progress. But it's just gonna be chill vibes and stuff. I'm sorry if my mic is doing weird noises. It is doing weird noises during. Well, I made it louder yesterday since everyone was complaining that I was too low. So now I'm not as low, but you will suffer random noises that are happening even when my mic is muted. I've been just like leaking. My face has been leaking today. And for some reason, like my eyes were watering, my nose is leaking. It's like allergies. It's like spring, but I'm pretty sure it's not spring yet. I don't know what's going on. No, 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 no. Did my everything just break? What? Did my OBS just break? No, my OBS is fine. Oh god. Oh god, that got me so scared. It was just Sims crashed. Um, or wait. Oh, my Twitch completely froze. That's fun. That's fun. Um, I guess I'm gonna be hanging here in the OBS. I don't know why the thing is completely unresponsive. Maybe because I'm lurking in 5 chats. Oh, uh, can you just refresh? That's all I wanted you to do. Oh my god, I hate this. I hate this so much. The amount of times I had issues with fucking Chrome. You'd think my transition to Mozilla would be complete by now. It's not. It's not. I'm in progress, but holy fucking shit. Just load, you dumb bitch. Like literally, what the fuck is the issue? Like it loads everyone else's Twitch pages properly, perfectly, but doesn't want to load mine. What? I am anger. I hate this. Just work, you stupid dumb program. Oh god. Good for her. Okay, now everything is unresponsive. Fuck off. Just seriously, just fuck off. Okay. So we're doing this today without me seeing the boards or anything because fuck Chrome. Seriously, if you're still using Chrome, uninstall that shit right away. Um, what the actual fuck? This is not how I wanted to start my morning. It's really not. Okay, give me a second. I'll try to figure this out. Uh, I'll try to figure this out. Give me a sec. Okay, are we good? Are we working now? Fuck this program so much. Oh my god. Oh wait, it broke my subtitles. Of course, it broke my subtitles. Ah, I'm gonna cry. Okay. Here. Give me a second. Give me a second. I am working on it. I'm going through it. Like whenever I have an issue, with things, whenever things start breaking, it's because of the fucking Chrome. And mm, I hate it. Sorry, this made me so mad. I'm so mad. I was about to start a chill morning, just vibes and stuff, and then fucking Google Chrome. Why are you even a thing right now? Ugh. Mm. So hopefully things don't completely break now. I do see my dashboard again. Sorry, I overreacted. I genuinely didn't think it will work again today. I was mentally preparing for doing it rough or whatever. Oh god. Please take my advice. Just use Mozilla. Just use Mozilla. Like, I still have to use Chrome for some things that can't run properly on Mozilla, but fucking hell. I don't have to be using it for Twitch. So I think that's the next transition I'm making as soon as I can. It's just like that everything is like nicely saved in here. It's pure laziness. Pure laziness. It sounds like it's working now, though. It sounds like it's working. Oh, God. Something changed, though. They changed the layout again. The things are lower. I guess it's maybe nicer for people to see more of the URL for some reason, but I don't know. I don't like the thickness of that bar. Why am I full on allergy mode? What the fuck? Seriously, I don't like today. Today is not starting out nice. I hope at least this will go well for us. Holy shit. It's chaos, guys. It's chaos. Maybe I should actually take my allergy meds. Sorry about that. That was disgusting. Which ones are you? The sucking or the swallowing? Swallowing ones. Oh. I have 2 allergy meds. The swallowing ones are more instant. Sorry, no, the sucking ones are more instant. This looks kind of diabolical in a way. I don't know why. I like the looks of them, you know, the fancy outdoor lights, but and also like this looks like it could be a solar panel, although it's also light. The singular vase here. We will need to bring some clutter in. Although like this little area is good as is, I believe. Okay. So what we need is move objects. Move objects just lets us place things where we shouldn't be able to place them, or how we shouldn't be able to place them. And then if you grab an item, any item really, and just press F5, that will allow you to place on quarter tiles. So not just this and this, but here as well. It's kind of nice. Sorry, not just this or this, but here as well. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. Do I want to add the bowl while I'm here, like here? There. They're kind of sporty. This is what we did last time. It's our mixologist's room. Mm, and today we're moving on to the cook's room, the butler's office, and the butler's room, and hopefully butler's toilet as well. Well, not toilet, bathroom. Bathroom. Yes, bathroom. Um. So yes. Lighting. So we did a few like little funky bedrooms. I don't know, like this one and this one for the gardener. We're ignoring this one for now. And we have this one for the horse trainer, this one for the dog trainer. And we have our maids here. The secondary maid and the primary maid. The primary maid is like very simple room, not a lot of personality in there. We're very IKEA. But I don't know. I feel like it has its own charm. And this one I want to make like more posh, stylish stuff. Maybe with this lamp. I believe there's like two plants we can squeeze in the corner. We can either do like this one. Ooh, do I want to do this one actually? Huh, interesting. Maybe I do. It's more like whiter one. And then like a little table here of a sorts. Sorry. Would this be too big? Yeah, probably. No, I think I'm gonna leave this one. And then we'll clutter it up a little after. I'm debating if I should like place this one a little lower. I don't really know if I really should. We'll see when we start placing stuff. I kind of want this one, but I feel like there was another one that was like that. Am I mistaken? Like I feel like there was a silver one like this kinda. Not exactly like that, but maybe I am mistaken. Maybe that lamp doesn't exist. Why was I so sure it exists? I was very sure that exists. Whoa, that's changed like... Oh, never mind. It is that bright, in fact. That's kinda cute, right? Like, just a little bit controlled greenery in here. Wait, it wants to go on this one, but not on this one? Oh, that's sad. You also don't want to go on this one? What? Wait, what? Why is the aloe vera plant in here? I'm sorry, what? And it's a debug one. What? What? Yeah. I'm kind of confused. It's also 0. It costs nothing. That's interesting. Are they trying to place like some of the debug items into the game? Is that what's going on here? Because that would be nice if they're actually in game, but it also has me a little confused. Wait, you also don't want to go on the tiny one? God damn it. None of them want to go on the tiny shelf. You? You want to, but you're clipping. Sorry. There. When in doubt, this plant fits perfectly almost everywhere, in almost every situation. I could place this one lower, but I won't. Instead, let's see what we can place on here from clutter. Something that makes sense for a cook. Sorry. Maybe some tissues. Mm. For some reason, it's very hard for me to create minimalist type spaces. And that's partially why I've been struggling with this whole house. Mm. I promise I'm not crying. It's just the freaking allergies. Do you think it's maybe to the cat? And it's possible. I usually have allergies to the cats. Not to this degree. And it has been like days since I give it pats. So, well, it's been days now since I've seen it. I know she comes because the food is always gone. But then again, maybe it's not the cat. Maybe it's birds that ate it. So there's that. Oh, yeah, I know what I can put in here. That could be kind of cute. This new thingy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it comes in white. Do I want to maybe put it like here? No. Yeah, I believe I can put it over here. I only remembered because of the box with the CDs. Not CDs, oh my god. The records box. This one. Maybe we put that as well, like here. Also, I'm not really sure if this guy is a gym pro, but I feel like he should be. Yeah. Maybe like we have this over here. Aha, I found the thing I was searching for. And it is this thing. I'm gonna put it here just so I can place this a little bit on a tilt. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not that much of a tilt. Like this. Maybe we change the color of the magazines down there. Oh, this one has food on it. Perfect. Now, what other little knickknacks can we put here? Perhaps something like that. Mm. I don't really put that one anywhere ever. So perhaps. Perhaps not. Hmm. Was that always here? I feel like this was also in debug, guys. Are they really bringing stuff from debug into like the regular thing? I'm kind of confused, but I wouldn't hate it as long as they label everything correctly, as long as we have things sorted out better. Maybe they really are working on it. Who knows? Aw, it doesn't fit into the whole. Oh yeah, this was also one of the things. Yeah. Okay. We really need more like these corner thingies in the game. We have a few. But we could use more. Wait, can we put that in here? Yeah, we can. But then also something else. We'll figure out what eventually. Here, another corner thingy. But yeah, I feel like we need more corner thingies. They stopped putting that in game, I think, a while back. Oh, wait. No, it can't. Can the Grimm's box fit in there? It totally can. Oh, that's adorable. Like little keepsakes. Precious little keepsakes. And then I'm feeling maybe we add like sort of paper clutter over here. But I am thinking specifically. Oh, well, this can work also. However, yes, I was thinking specifically the study file, the study stacks. Maybe not. Yeah, no, the small ones are too small. So maybe yes, the study stacks. I don't know, maybe they are studying something. I don't know. Oh, that kind of cuts in. Well, can it be here? It can, but at what cost? No, this is turning out too messy. Maybe not study stacks. But we can leave the picture frame. It's kinda cute. Oh, maybe I want the butterfly one. Like it's more simple. Why are these? Okay, can someone explain to me why these are so big? They could be this size. It would be fine. But no, they're this size. Who's using that? Who is using that in that size? There are some sunglasses here, and oh wait, maybe the tiny book stack. Where is the tiny book stack? Also, maybe this somewhere. Tiny book stack. Where are you? Haha, there it is. There, that works. Shelves are cluttered. They don't have to have a PC in here. However, they do have to have a plant in this corner because it's so empty. Like that. I feel like that's fine. Okay. Sorry, I had an itch I had to scratch. Very different vibes. Oh, wait. Almost forgot to put some sort of curtains. Nah. Perhaps? Maybe I do want to go with these. They do seem kind of not long enough. Perhaps there is like... Oh, there is a white of these. There, perfect. And then there are some pictures frames. Yeah, it's gonna be cute. I struggled, but I feel like my minimalist bedroom is minimal enough. Like, yeah, there's still some clutter and stuff, but it's organized clutter. It's different. I mean, not like this clutter is not organized, but you can clearly tell the difference between this and this, right? It's a stark difference. Okay, this is supposed to be some sort of utility closet here. And now I know we put this one here, but we might as well like just plop it in here. Because I'm feeling this area is gonna be like the generic area as well. And then here we can get away with a plant. I'm sorry, I'm putting so many plants in. Oh, maybe they have a cat. Oh, I don't actually have anywhere to put things for a cat. Uh, Butler, we're gonna like hire from the thing, so I have no idea who the butler is gonna be. So we have to stylize it, but keep it kind of generic as possible. Well, this person could have a cat, but also no room for a cat. Okay, maybe nobody has a cat. Okay, it's literally picking all of the noise. I'm sorry. I'll mute for a second. Okay, here we are. Is it- no, it's just none. I'm a little confused. I'm guessing that's not news to anyone. I'm feeling I kind of want to put those bookshelves in here as well. And then let's see. I have a specific desk in mind. Um, and it is. I'll find it. There we go. Found it. And then we have this fancy desk chair. Where are you? There you are. We're gonna do it with the gold accent. Because this also has gold accent. Not that you can see for the most part. Unless you're playing with walls down. Or semi-walls, I guess. Personally, I'm feeling maybe a little couch on the side moment. Like this one. But also like a chair here or here or two chairs. Oh. It's a big decision, okay? It's like a very big decision. Especially since it would have to be this one, right? Well, this one. Which doesn't match this. But also this doesn't match it. This would match perfectly. However, this is warm tone. If I go with cool tone, it's silver. It matches, but not really. It's like tiny frustrating things. We could do this. It doesn't match exactly, but close enough? Question mark? Are they too close? Yeah, no, they're too close. Unless I put them like here. Okay, what carpet can we put in? Like this started off well, but not exactly what we're looking for. Somehow not enough carpets. Too many and not enough at the same time. Ooh. No, I don't like the vibe of that. Like, at all. Oh, interesting. Perhaps. Perhaps not. No. What do we think about these wipes? I feel like it's a bit too raggedy. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Like we bring in those warm tones. That could work. Like I'm not a fan of how it clashes with this, but it works well with everything else. Hmm. Perhaps we do need to bring different chairs. I mean, there is these chairs, which could kind of work. Like, it's not exactly the gold match, but the next best thing is this, which also not really a good match. Um, I mean, we have these ones that we used on the other rooms. We could also use these ones. Okay, let me remove these because we're definitely not using those two. We'll find something eventually. These ones could also be some sort of a vibe. And like I guess these ones, but they don't match with the couch in the back. Nope. Oh, perhaps these. Mm. And this one is too yellowish. And then this one has too much of blue. This one is a nope. Also nope. Man. Why can't they just make a full freaking set that matches? Like, this could also work, I guess, but the legs are silver. I want golden legs. This is just kind of insulting, although I do want to have one of these somewhere. Like, imagine going into a meeting and you have to sit on these. Oh, this works well with something from Island Living, actually, I think. Do I dare to mix in these? Okay. I'm gonna put it here as a contender. This one is also nice. Too warm. This one is cute, but it doesn't match the vibe. And before you know it, the whole stream is gonna turn into chair picking. Gods. We could do egg chairs. Egg chairs are an option. This is not an option. Oh, maybe it is. No, maybe not. That's just weird. Well, this doesn't scream kinky at all. Probably not gonna go with those chairs. Probably a right call to not go with these chairs. That's kind of pretty. Of course, these are kind of simple ones. So could also be an option. This is too worn out. They would not. Land grabs would not stand for that. Unless it's like in someone's personal space. They probably don't care about that, but yeah. Eek. Interesting, but no. Okay. The choice is between these. Personally, I ride with this one and this one. Definitely not this one. I don't think we're gonna do the egg. This one is too textured. This one we already have in bedrooms. This one is a no. This one matches because of the legs. But I feel like it's too casual. I feel like maybe it could go in the bedroom there. Maybe not, never mind. I'm feeling these actually. There, yeah. Yeah, I think we settled. We're gonna go for the love struck ones. Now let me move the carpet so I can line them up again. No, that is not what I wanted to move. Actually, good. Hi, Marshall. How are you doing today? Did you see our chair picking struggle? Because they just can't make things that match. Because, like, this is nice, and this is nice, and then we don't have a chair that matches. But, well, the lounge chair, whatever. But yeah, I think we finally settled on a vibe here. Oh, maybe this one goes like in this corner, like just a backup stool just in case. How are you doing today? How is your waking up process going? We struggled with these chairs for way too long. I can stay there. Oh, okay. I was having some struggles with my sound the past few days. But I'm glad if it was just a thing on your end. Because I don't think I can handle any more troubleshooting. I'm so confused by this aloe vera plant from Debug. Like, it's a pretty plant. It costs $0 bucks. I don't know. Yeah, true, true. It would be so nice if we could live in a world where we don't have to update anything ever. Okay, I feel like we need a flashy painting here on the wall, like something gold frame, um, something. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get to it. Oh, this is not bad. Actually, we can do that one. Yeah, I believe it would. This is like totally different vibe to whatever that is. We might do that at the top floor somewhere. Do you know, for some reason, I want to add a piano in here. True, it would be boring. But you gotta admit, sometimes things like, okay, some updates that we're getting are literally a nothing update. Just like it changes few things around or stuff. I could do without those. Because, for example, you get used to a layout and then they change it up. I hate that. Especially when they do, like, finally a good layout or something. And then they change it to something atrocious. Ugh. It's for nobody for most part. Especially like people who do use Windows stuff quite often. And I'm not speaking just about Windows, like in general apps and stuff, but people who use them quite often and get used to specific things, like, why would you just interrupt their workflow with changing stuff around? For no fucking reason at all. And I'm not talking like major updates that actually change stuff, how it works, or are more like intuitive and stuff. I'm not talking about those changes. Just, those pointless changes that make no sense at all. They're just there so they make a change. Like, just don't do it then. Just don't do it. It's easy as that. Twitch just got like a shit ton of backlash because they changed the layout of the stream view. They had to roll it back because people hated it so much. I hated it so much. Honestly, I'm really glad they rolled it back too. Because, like, what's the point? No, I'm not talking. No. I'm not talking about patching up holes and options that are not used as much. I get that. That is fine. But okay, for example, Twitch rolled out a thing where they just. Okay, so you know how the title and everything is on the lower part of the screen? So they just rolled out to a few select users me being unlucky one of them, thousands, they just moved it up. However, they left like majority of things still like around the screens for you to find, but they moved it up. And the thing is, a lot of things didn't work with add-ons and stuff. So you couldn't clip, you couldn't do anything basically. Like you couldn't even subscribe to people. That's how bad it was. Because if you had any like if you had anything on your browser, like even just the I don't know, the pronouns or something like minor like that, it would break the whole thing. Like it was so bad. And especially like why is it upstairs now? And it was so tiny. It was terrible. I'm so glad they rolled it back. I'm so glad they actually listened to us. But say like updates like that, basically. That's what I'm talking about. Those pointless updates. Yeah, I didn't have that option. I complained to them directly and they took it on a few days later for everyone. Luckily. Like, that was so bad, bro. But yeah, those are the updates, quote unquote updates I'm talking about. Like, it serves no purpose. It breaks the page that works perfectly for the most part. Like, they could have made improvements on it. There is improvements to be made, but that was not an improvement. Yeah, but no, I get that. But the changes that should be made should be like significant changes that don't just interrupt the flow of users, you know? I get that they were trying to cater to YouTube public, but there's YouTube for that. YouTube caters to YouTube public. Twitch should cater to Twitch public, you know? I hate when apps are trying to be visually something they're not. Like they can still make changes, they can still make like improvements on their pages, just not in a way that's so disruptive to both old and new users. And you know, that's all I'm saying. So these pointless users updates, the pointless updates are waste of resources, money, and time. Like literally waste of everything. And a lot of firms have been doing stuff like that. Just like, oh, we don't know what to do, even though they have like pages upon pages of people suggesting stuff. So they do something random. And in my opinion, they should not. They should not be doing random stuff like that because, again, a waste of everything. It was so poorly received that they did take it down, Twitch specifically, but there is pages that do stuff like that, and they don't listen to their users at all. I'm not saying you don't need to be careful or anything, obviously. they're thinking about their investors, which also it's a thing Sims suffered for a lot, because instead of thinking of their player base, this is an EA issue in general. Like, instead of thinking of their player base, people who actually like spend money on their game, they were thinking about their investors mostly. Currently, I feel like that mindset is changing, and I'm glad it is. But a lot of corporations have that mindset where they think about investors and not about the player base. Like, just think about the player base. If player base is happy and wants to spend money on your game, then the investors are gonna be happy as well. Just like, that seems to be like the most logical thing. Like, the most logical thing. Make sure your user base is happy, investors are happy then as well. But no, they're like, they're so dumb when it comes to stuff. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's, yeah, exactly. Uh, I genuinely don't understand the mindset where they don't just connect that if player base is happy, well, user base is happy, investor base is happy. You know, I mean, you pay with your time, okay? Which technically Twitch benefits from that more than, for example, me or any other streamer. You pay with your time, which will translate to ad time that they can roll, which will translate to more money for them. Now, whether you have an ad block or not, that's, different, but in general, that's how it works. The more you watch, the more they profit, the more their things go up. I have no idea what those are supposed to mean. To whom do I give coins? To, I mean, to no one. I don't have coins to give. Like, my earnings and everything is so transparent. Okay, like, if you just look at my about, you can see like how many subscribers I have, how many uh followers, and stuff like that. I mean, it is a game. In, like, at the end of the day, it is a game. But also, like, corporations will benefit more from your time than the general person you're watching. Both play-based investors. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why it's censored that. Did you censor that, or did it automatically? I don't know. But yeah, both user-based investors. Yeah. However, if your coin goes into making sure that the user base is happy, you will get more watch time out of it, which will translate to more interest for your investors, which will translate to more money for the boss. So, yeah, Like logically, it's so fucking simple, and yet you watch all these companies and wonder how the fuck are they not crashing and burning right now. It is very simple. I mean, I'm sorry. Okay, maybe I phrased it wrong. Like the whole thing may not be very simple for everyone, but like the logic behind it is very simple. Still very simple, because if you satisfy your user base, the money is gonna return to you. Like you're gonna have return and profit from that. It's all about balance. You can make a chair that stands on two legs. Heck, you can make a chair that stands on one. It's just all about balancing it the right way. And sure, balancing stuff may be a little tricky sometimes, but it is possible. Yeah, you can balance it. You can Google it. You can balance a chair on two legs. It's always like the answer to the thing is always the balance. If you balance things correctly, you don't. You really don't. In fact, if you're really savvy, you can invest 0 coins and have 3 coins returned back to you. Oh, wait, this would be so cute to have in this room. Like, it makes sense with literally nothing, but I don't know. I feel like it could be really cute just to squeeze it in. Maybe it's weird that like a little music corner is right next to the supply closet, but it's fine. No, that's just bad business run. Like you can make both player base. Okay, if you make player base and investors happy, the money will come back, and boss will make tons of money. It's not either or in this case. Because investors like to see changes and they like to see the game profiting, right? And then players also like some changes, or users, depending on what we're talking about. Users also like changes and would pay money to see good changes that benefit the game. So if users are happy and if the investors are happy, boss will most definitely earn a lot of money. Because a lot of these practices they're doing, they're spending way more resources and money in things than they should. So that would lose them money. But if they use the resources appropriately, it would make money to everyone. Well, not to everyone, to the boss. If the boss isn't happy with the profits, then he's a bad boss. If he doesn't earn profits, then he's using his resources incorrectly. You can make both players and user base and investors happy. Like, it's really that simple. There is not too much to it. Okay, it's really that simple. If the investors are happy and invest more money, the boss earns money. There is no, oh, he doesn't. He does. I'm not sure what's not computing here. Because, okay, if you earn the profits, more profits than you initially would if you just made the good product, if you earn profits from that and investors invest money, you get double the payout, if not even more. How would that not earn boss money? What do you mean? Like, what you're saying literally does not track logic here. By that logic, no one would ever make a profit if you just make one person happy. If you just make investors happy, you would not make a profit because investors wouldn't be that happy because the players are not buying the game or the expansions for the game, or they're not spending more time on the page, spending less time, which essentially you lose profits there. You lose a lot of profits. So what you're saying here doesn't make sense. If you make just players happy by not adding anything new or more you will make investors unhappy, and then you will also lose money because they're not investing. So what you're saying does not track. If you make player base happy and if you make investors happy at the same time, you will earn profits. If you make just one happy, you will not have profits from that. Does that make sense? Well, you will not have extra profits. You will have profits, but not as much profits than you need. And then you will get fired. But boss is inconsequential thing here. Like, when your thing pays out, the boss makes money. You don't have to introduce me to a lifespan of an item. I know exactly what you're trying to say, but it doesn't work as you think it works. You should know this. If you're in marketing, you should know this. This is not like discarding your way of thinking or anything. I get it. I did spend quite a lot of my time in marketing and in marketing classes and stuff. I know how things work. Not all products that you put out have the same life cycle. Okay. They do have a life cycle. They do have a life cycle. But that will not reflect in what you're saying. Because, okay, you have good product out, people buy the product or buy into the product, investors are happy because they see their money returning, so they will invest more, you know. Boss will always get the payout. The workers might not get a raise, but that's a different story. That's like unfair world we live in. For most things, especially the things we're talking about right now, so the digital products, their life cycle is a little bit different and their flow works a little bit different. Okay. But you wouldn't, because you, as a boss, you have payout all the time. No, the boss always has a payout. I know I'm the boss. I always have a payout. My grandma is the boss. She always has the payout. Like, it's not, you know, boss always has a payout. Boss is the first one who has a payout. And then boss distributes that payout around, especially like in the smaller things. Like, yes, in bigger companies, there's people who take care of that for the boss. In some countries, yes, there is that law. But what I'm saying is that the money first goes to the boss. So it's up to the boss if he gets paid or not. Literally. And with the state of the economy right now, you know that all of the bosses gets paid. If the boss is somehow losing money, then he's not managing his resources properly. If he's making a profit and he's losing money, he's not managing his resources properly. Either he has too many resources or he's managing the money poorly. I did not say that. I literally did not say that. You always have to take in account how much resources you can take in. Like, you need to have like your basic capital that always has to be untouched for a couple of months of workers' paychecks. Like, you can't hire workers knowing that you can't pay them. That's just bad management, man. That's like terrible management. There doesn't have to be a side that loses, okay? I know that there doesn't have to be. I know that there is plenty of times where a side loses, okay? I'm not saying that's not happening. That is happening a lot. That is happening a lot. But that is poor management, okay? And you can't convince me otherwise. Why wouldn't you be able to sell your game if I sell my game? That makes zero sense. True. We are on the same market, but our game is not the same. Are you saying that just because Sims is selling that, I don't know, Paralives will not sell or something? Because it will. It already has a player base that's as big as a Sims player base, and they didn't even come out. You are making zero sense right now. You do understand that. Having more than one game out there is not a monopoly. Having just one game of a thing is a monopoly. So, for example, okay, I'll take Sims as an example right now because Sims is one of the only simulation games like this out there right now. And it has a monopoly on the market. However, other games are coming out, so they are breaking Sims' monopoly on the market. Make sense? There are a few that are not notable. Okay, Sims still very much has a monopoly, but Paralives is coming out this year, which is already breaking Sims' monopoly. Then you have Inzoid that's also coming out that is breaking that monopoly. So there's gonna be 3 games. But yeah, Sims is having a monopoly on the life simulation market right now. But just because Sims is having monopoly did not dishearten other people from making the similar game. And they're already doing amazing because they're breaking that monopoly. Even if those games are not out yet. Make sense? So just because something is out there already doesn't mean you shouldn't put it out there. You will still earn a profit from that. You just need to know how to market it, what market you're going into, etc., etc. In some cases, it really does not. Because I've seen Sims, for example, fail over and over again trying to make investors happy, failing the players in the process, and losing the money because of it, which makes investors unhappy in the long run. That's where they're trying this new tactic to, make their player base happy, which honestly I'm very thrilled about. But they seems to be like it really seems to be a gap with that thinking, because a lot of companies do that type of thinking and it's really bad practice. I'm thinking if I maybe want to put like a little walk-in closet here. Maybe. Hi, Red. Sweet dreams. Thank you for stopping by. Ah, well, thank you for stopping by. Yeah, this room has fake windows because that room is in the basement. Like all of these rooms are in the basement. We're still working on this one. But yeah, all of the staff rooms have fake windows. There's gonna be some vents and stuff. But it's little Angros. I don't think they care too much about their workers' health. Mm, and they do have central heating, so. Well, central cooling and heating. Too small. Oh wait, maybe we'd go for this one. Okay, it's obviously entirely too big, but it's a walk-in closet. It's fine. If I could have like this one with gold handles, that would be lovely. Oh, but I can have this ones. I mean, it's a walk-in closet, so yeah, like that. And then we're gonna put like shelves with stuff as well. I'm deciding though if I want the preset shelves. So, okay, it's these ones. Let me grab them when I find them eventually. Okay, so either these ones, but they don't come in white. Okay, I think my decision has been made for me. Because we have these as well, which are kind of built-in shelves. And then we can hang stuff from them. I don't like that they cut into the wall, but oh well, we can't choose that. Yeah, you have space to open the door and close it. Okay. And then we can add all of the things. Okay, maybe I switch them around. And then we have more casual wear here. Yeah, that kind of works. Mm. No, not comfort. Clutter. We don't care about comfort in this house. Joking. Don't cancel me. This is like too close to the wall. Hmm. It's very hard to find like generic clutter for this. I genuinely think we need more clutter in this game. Hello. Nom time? Pizza. Blue is making pizza. Okay. Oh, maybe I'll give them some board games. Like there, perhaps. Yeah, our Blue's Pizza kinda close to that. Not from Lidl, from Ocean, but yeah. Marshall is also having pizza for lunch. His is from Lidl. Kind of want to add this, but I don't want to assume the gender of the butler we're going to hire. There, I'm going to put some perfumes. Perfumes are genderless. I do want to put like something here. I just don't know what. Maybe some towels. Some random ass towels. There. Also, I'm not really actually a fan of how the board games look there. I might just leave it empty. I would add candles, but that would be a fire hazard. God damn it, now you two made me hungry. Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent walk-in closet. Like, it's a small one. Because, like, okay, let me save. I didn't save yet today. But yeah, this one is gonna be more challenging. Like, the upstairs walk-in closet, like this one. This one is freaking massive. We have a portion of it sorted. Now we have to like sort everything else. And again, I don't have a mirror in here, so I'll probably put like a mirror up here. Like here. There is a vanity table out here, and I'm gonna put a mirror somewhere over here. Like, this bedroom, without the closet space, is legit the size of some of the houses I made. I don't know how you decorate a bedroom this big, okay? It's literally the size of some of the houses I made. I'm not over exaggerating, okay? In fact, it's bigger than some of the houses I made. I can give you an example right now. Like it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 11. 11 with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 11 by 12. 11 by 12. Okay. It's, oh my god, it's so big. Like, I already struggled with these two, which are also kind of big. But at least they have like corners and stuff. They're not just like big open space. I feel like I maybe should have made it like this. But that's... how well, it's not impossible to make. Do you know what we should? We should actually make houses based on the doll houses in The Sims. Because we have a lot right now. We should do that as a challenge at some point. When we finish this... but yeah, okay, so... we have this generic one. We have this. This one is this one. There's like this one. Although I feel like we're gonna struggle with making this. No, maybe we won't. It just has to be flat with a rocket on the top. Then we have like this one. And we have this castle thingy. And we have this one. And we have this one. It could be interesting to make a neighborhood with just like these. This is the god house though. The old god's house. So maybe we don't have to make that one specifically, but all of the other ones we could have fun making. Especially like, okay, so this one with the tree, I feel like we can make that when the fairies finally come out. And they will come out, okay? I'm not like those sheeple who doesn't believe that fairies are ever coming out. They're working on it, okay? They're hinting at it for years. It's gonna be like a big, awesome release. Like, the Grimm thing was. Okay? Life and Death. Yeah. I believe it's happening. No one can convince me otherwise. We're getting too many fairy hints for it not to be happening. It's not gonna be the next pack, but it's gonna happen, okay? This is Sims Forever now, so it has to happen. Like, there is literally no way for it not to happen. I may or may not be a little bit obsessed with occults in The Sims. I am, however, praying that mermaids get a rework when fairies come out or before fairies come out. Because, honestly, they deserve better. And also the plant sims. The plant sims deserve so much better. There's so many mods. Well, there's actually 2 mods in particular that do improve the mermaids and the plants. They're amazing. But I do want to have it in-game. Because not everyone has access to mods as well. So while I'll be adding some stuff in this save, particularly that will run with mods, such as Basemental mod and the wholesome one. Not the non-wholesome one, okay? That is a little too much for me. I'm a Christian Minecraft streamer, okay? So no wicked whims, but wholesome whims. No, they're not called wholesome whims, fuck. Wonderful whims, yes, that's the ones. And then we're gonna add in some other mods. It's gonna be an amazing save, hopefully. Remember, when I like rework all of the families and rebuild stuff, I still have to go through probably a week of game, giving everyone jobs, uh, setting them up for their life. I will probably cheat most of those things in, but once it is done, you should have a nice, lovely, vibrant game to play with. Okay, give me just a moment. I will show you a thing. I also made. Did I make it? Did I move them in? I'm not sure. Let me check who is in the world. But yeah, I'm also making people for the challenges. Okay, manage households. Yes, I did. Barry in the Oasis Springs. I'll let her know. Okay. So, in the Oasis Springs. Oh, there it is, Barry. I didn't finish their house. I remember. But this is the starter for Not So Berry Challenge. I am also gonna have a starter for the Occult Challenge. Occult Baby Challenge and stuff. Yeah, this is in general what we have for now. Maybe we can finish that real quick. We still have like half an hour of stream left. I know it's not a land grab mansion anymore, but yeah. You know, it's like a small little house over here. It's cute. I love it. It's like obviously very posh because the Not So Berry Challenge sim is materialistic. No, why did I click that? No, I didn't want to click that. I wanted to click on the character, but I guess I can show you from the gallery. Okay. So she's vegetarian, jealous, and materialistic. It's mint berry. I will have a description and the link to the berry challenge in the save file. And then again, maybe the berry challenge gets an update now that we have so many packs and stuff. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see. She's a scientist, and yeah, I don't know. I love how she looks. And also I use way too many packs. I'm sorry for that. This is a save where you will have to have all of the packs probably, or at least most of them. So yeah. And why do I have two versions of pink and blue? Anyhow. But yeah, obviously you can see I have a lot of sims prepared for the whole save. We have all of the Stardew Valley, or at least most. I'm still wishing for the purple fucking hair. I don't know how hard it is to add a fucking purple swatch to the hairs. Okay. It's been 10 years, Sims 4. It's been 10 years. These Sims are supposed to have purple hair. It's been 10 years. Okay. And I don't mean the freaking lavender hair. I know they have lavender hair, but lavender is not. No, it's like pinkish. Wait, do I even have anyone with lavender hair here? I do. Like, she has lavender hair. That's pink. Or is that pink, actually? Yeah, that's lavender hair. Like, that's pink. Very much pink. I think that's the closest we have to the purple. Well, I guess this one is, but this is brown and it's just like shaded like that. Mm. Yeah, this is pink. So it's obviously different. Okay. Oh, also we have Tomb Raider. We have Lara's grandfather, Lara's great grandmother, Lara's father, Lara's mother. Mm. Atlas de Mornay is her mother's brother. Lara is kind of super cute here. Okay. And I think I actually nailed Winston to what he is in this version. But here also, Lara has a brother. I'm unsure if she has a brother in real life. I was tracking some sort of lore. But yeah, and then I split them, and the Mornay is somewhere. But yeah, we have our goth rework. And we have Cornelia Goth, Sir Percival C. Goth. We have their cook, their butler, Walter Radagast. We have Bella. I feel like this is so much more Bella than what we have. We have Mortimer. I struggled so much with Mortimer, but we got there in the end. We have Cass. She's really into like magic and shit. She's really goth, you know. And Alexander is just Alexander. We don't talk about Alexander. I mean, we do. It's just this is the original gods without the extended family. Did you know that gods are actually related to crumple bottoms? And then we have these sims. Any and all similarity to real people is coincidental. And these are kind of my favorite. These are the ones we're loading into. Gurga is basically a friend of Johnny Zest, his best friend, in fact. And then we have this one that I did not, I did not furnish. I did not close it yet. This is the Windenburg family. This is gonna be like big royal family. They come in all shapes and sizes. I will close them at some point. I just keep forgetting about them. Also, these, I struggled so much with these. And I didn't even, like, move them around here. But all of them have, like, their storylines and everything. So, yeah. It's hopefully gonna be cute. Oh, man. I think I got the nosebleed. Give me a second. Okay, I'm here. Sorry about that. Also, I pressed the wrong thing. Fuck my life. Um, it's okay. It's not like an actual nosebleed. It's just my a vein in my nose snapped or something. It's fine. I'm good. It's normal. Okay. So we're gonna furnish that real quick. So that's for not so berry challenge mint edition. So we're gonna color it kind of mint, minty green. For now, we have like dark mint. We're gonna add some lighter mints. Is this mint green? It kind of looks minty. Kinda. Mm, I do want to make this different though. Maybe like wood tones. Maybe like that, but not the one with the thing. One without the thing. Waar bist u? Sergio. Like that, perhaps? No, maybe more yellowish one. Yeah, that one works a little better. Although I shouldn't have. Oopsie. A part of me wants to do different color on this as well. Like two different halves. Like we just make it a little more brighter. Hmm. Like I like it at the front. I'm not really a fan of it at the end. We could have it just like this. And then perhaps add columns. Like white ones. Maybe no columns. Maybe this is fine. Then what if I add the chunky ones? No, the chunky one is too chunky. So perhaps something like that. Hmm. That's actually interesting. Yeah, maybe that in like a wooden tone. Mm, hmm. It's really fun. Maybe we just put like metal sheets. Morning, Frankie. How you doing today? Like this, a little more bluish ones. I am kind of miffed about no window here, but I believe we can rectify that with adding some of the trellises. Oh, that one is a little too high. Oh, this one is a little too high as well. Dang it. Like that, perhaps? And then we can add additional flowers to it. Like perhaps here. And maybe like here. A little bit of here. And like that. And then we can add more leaves to fill things in. Like so. Dogman movie. Well, I hope you have wonderful time with Poppy Playtime. I never heard of the Dogman, so I hope you have a wonderful time with that as well. I think we're gonna put like I know this is electricity, but I think we should put some solar panels on as well. Hmm. Maybe I just want to put them in like 3 rows. Yeah, maybe I just want to do that. Like so. Oh, okay. A dog-headed cop on a mission to stop evil orange cat named Pete. Okay. That sounds kind of hilarious. Oh, that's way too big. That's also way too big. Do you want to just have this vent, or do you want to have... No, these are too big. I don't think I have much choice. I'm like, sure, I can put this ones, but yeah, no, I think we're gonna opt out for this. You're off going out? Okay. Enjoy your day. Thank you for stopping by. It's really appreciated. Okay, I think this outside is good enough. I will put a little roof thingy here, so she can have all her science stuff. Is it in sculptures? Is it in decoration? Nobody knows. We'll find it. I have a specific one in mind. I'm pretty sure it's in sculptures. I might be wrong though. This one isn't sculpture, so yeah, okay, it's here. It's here. Like, part of me wanted to put it here, but then wait, we don't have our grid. Like, it could fit nicely here, but then we don't have a wall. I don't know. Maybe we should put it like this. But then again, things are not aligned, so perhaps this is better. And then we can go to study, to hobbies and skills. Like, she could have plenty things out here. Like, she could have her little robot station out here. Because it's on the roof, so it's not gonna break or anything. And while I won't put, like, exactly her, like, skill building things, I will put some science looking stuff. So sort of like that. She definitely needs a chess table for logic build. If I give her a telescope here, is that weird? I think it could be fine over here. And then we can just give her maybe a table with an umbrella over there. Maybe not the big one, a smaller one. Smaller one. Maybe the new one. Yeah, this one. And it can be minty. How cute is that? And then if I could find the matching chairs, that would be lovely, but I cannot find it here. I do believe I can find it from the dining room. Yes, there we go. Do you want to maybe rotate it like that? Yeah, maybe that's better. And then is it too weird if I put like a little barbecue next to next to the mailbox? I guess it's not weird. It kind of makes sense that it's like covered there. Okay. So perhaps we won't make the whole of this today. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna leave you guys here because yeah, stuff's to do. But let me see where I can leave you off. Oh, Jeremy is live, but he's doing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And Armia is huge. I'm gonna leave you with Jeremy. We didn't say hi to Jeremy in a long while, so yeah. Let's go say hi to Jeremy. Please give him all of my love. Yeah, I will see you there, and I will see you later tonight for some Tomb Raiders. Okay? Stick around for the raid. I would really appreciate it. As always, stay excellent. And yeah, I'll see you this evening with the new Tomb Raider. I'm really excited for that, if you can't tell. Anyway, see you then, guys. Bye.